Hello, my dear family in Christ. Today we celebrate the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time. And it is a Sunday of great joy because Jesus brings us the treasure. The treasure that is going to revolutionize our lives. The treasure that is going to bring us joy, peace, abundance. The treasure that is going to bring us life itself. And he presents this treasure as something that we can find in two ways. One way is if we are just going about our lives as we normally do in our day to day routine. We are going about in our work, in our family, in our school, trying to do the best we can. And we are also facing difficulties, perhaps, and carrying all kinds of crosses, and we're just busy in the day to day work. However, something happens one day, and we stumble upon this treasure that is so full of light, so full of power, that makes us stop, makes us look at it, and makes us realize that this treasure is worth our entire life. It's worth everything we have done, and is worth everything we may have. And nothing compares to it. And then we go out, we sell everything we have, we give away everything we have, because anything else besides this treasure, it's nothing but dead load. And then we go forward in life with this treasure that brought us all we truly needed to be the person that God wanted us to be. Or we can also be looking for this treasure. We may have had plenty of graces, plenty of blessings, but we know that there is something even better than those daily blessings that we receive. Or perhaps we have had our good share of difficulties and crosses that we have been carrying day after day, tear after tear, pain after pain. But then, somewhere deep within us, we know that God has something better for us, that He has something special, that He has that treasure that He promised, and that we should be looking for it. And then one day, again, we come upon it, and then we see it again, and we see its light, and we see that our expectation was fulfilled. That God really did mean what He said when He had this treasure for us, this richness for us. And then we discover it. We discover this pearl of great value, and we know that everything else we had is of no comparison to it. Therefore, we go out, we get rid, we sell everything we had before, we sell all the old so that we can have the new. And this treasure comes to our life exactly for that, to give us everything new, to recreate us in God, in His love, in His being, and to give us true life. To make real for us that the food that Jesus was talking about when He said that He had another type of food that we did not know, that we did not understand, then when we find this treasure, all of that becomes clear for us. Because what God has for us is life. What God has for us is peace. What God has for us is love. And with all of those gifts and blessings that He pours into our lives, that is the way to live in peace, to live in fullness of life. Just as Solomon said, when God asked him what he wanted, he said, well, dear Lord, you gave me so much with these people, a people so big. What I truly need is for you to give me the wisdom so that I can guide them, so that I can be a leader for them. See, he had his neighbor before himself. He cared more for all the people than he cared for his own richness, for his own ease of life. And so God, in His mercy and in His love, gives him that. He gives him the wisdom that nobody else would have. But on top of that, He gives him everything else he could imagine, all the richness and all the life. So God never God never sets any limits. He overgives himself every time he can. He is ready to give us life, and on top of that, give us anything else we may need. Because as St. Paul says to the Romans, God makes everything work for the good of those who love him, for the good of those who trust in him, for the good of those who have faith in him. So let us ask him for our faith to be strengthened, for our faith to grow, for our faith to be so rooted in him that we can keep on searching for this treasure. And so we can have the wisdom that when we do find it, that we can give it the place we know that it deserves. So Jesus, with us present every time in the Eucharist, let us come to him. Let us strengthen us in the Eucharist. Let us come in the deepest part of our own selves, that he can start giving us light. Light so that with our eyes we can see this treasure when it comes to us. Let us ask him for the listening so that we can be able to listen. Open our ears so that we can listen to his voice that will guide us to this treasure. This treasure that belongs to nobody else but us. This treasure comes with name, with first name and last name, your own. My name and my last name are written on the treasure that is reserved for me. God has this treasure reserved for each and every one of us. Let us ask him for the strength, for the wisdom, and for the courage to go and do all we can, all we need to do, so we may find it. And in that way, find life in him. And once we find the life, live in the light so that we can be a light for the rest of the world, as he told us to be, the light of the world and the salt of the earth. May God bless you. Have an incredible week, and may the treasure very soon become a reality in your lives.